of course, Democrats had to respond. And usually for every single address to Congress, there's either, regardless of whether it's a Democrat president or a Republican president, there's always an allotted person or a person on the other side that the Democrats or the Republicans, they use to give their response to the speech that happened. And this time they used Elissa Slotkin. All right. Democrats decided that they want to go with new blood, and they wanted to go with Elissa. Are you with me? And so Elissa is the one that delivered the response to the Trump's address. And this is what she had to say. I haven't seen this yet, so I'm seeing it for the first time, just like you guys.
Senator Elissa Slotkin will deliver the Democratic response to President Trump's address to the joint session of Congress. Senator Chuck Schumer calling her a rising star in the party. At age 48, she became the youngest Democratic woman elected to the Senate. She previously served in the House. Before that, she served as a CIA analyst in Iraq. Now, her task tonight, delivering a solid Democratic message, of course, setting forth the party's agenda if they hope to reclaim the House and the Senate. Let's listen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elissa Slotkin. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak tonight. It's late, so I promise to be a lot shorter than what you just watched. I won't take it personally if you've never heard of me. I'm the new senator from the great state of Michigan, where I grew up. I've been in public.
Boo! Boo! Now, I love my Michigan, but I'm so tired of these Elissa Slotkins, Gretchen Whitmers showing up at the doorstep of Michigan. It's one of the reasons why we had flip blue in the 2020 election, but now we back.
Public service my entire life because I happened to be in New York City on 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down. Before the smoke cleared, I knew I wanted to make a life in national security. I was recruited by the CIA and did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military. In between, I worked at the White House under President Bush and President Obama, 2 very different leaders who both believed that America is exceptional.
Right now she's focused on promoting herself. She's not focused on the message. So Democrats are looking for the new rising star. That's one of the reasons they keep parading these people out there to see who's going to make an impact. And so she's stating her credentials so that you can say, oh, this is a person that I should listen to.
You can find that same sense of patriotism here in Wyandotte, Michigan, where I'm speaking from tonight.
Now, before I let her rock, she's speaking from Wyandotte, Michigan. Now, for all of my people in the chat today that is from Michigan, Wyandotte is one of the lists. Is one of the places that's on the list. Taylor, Michigan, Melvindale, Hazel Park, White Lake. These are some of the same places that I was telling y'all about. The black men that like to talk to white women that tend to be a little bit overweight. And this is the place that she's speaking from. I'm just telling you the truth. Wyandotte is another place where you can see, I'm just going to keep it 100. I hold everybody accountable. You can see you can catch you a lot lizard, or you can get you a white woman with a tattoo across her eyebrow, or you can get you a white woman that drives big old pickup trucks on 48-inch tires. Shout out to my people over there in Wyandotte, Michigan. I rock with y'all. Shout out to all of my ladies over there. Slim pickings, though.
It's a working class town just south of Detroit. President Trump and I both won here in November. It might not seem like it, but plenty of places like this still exist across the United States. Places where people believe that if you work hard and play by the rules, you should do well and your kids should do better. It reminds me of how I grew up. My dad was a lifelong Republican, my mom a lifelong Democrat. But it was never a big deal because we had shared values that were bigger than any one party. We just went through another fraught election season. Americans made it clear that prices are too high and that the government needs to be more responsive to their needs. America wants change, but there's a responsible way to make change and a reckless way. And we can make that change without forgetting who we are as a country and as a democracy. So that's what I'm going to lay out tonight. Because whether you're from Wyandotte or Wichita, most Americans share 3 core beliefs: that the middle class is the engine of our country, that strong national security protects us from harm, and that our democracy, no matter how messy, is unparalleled and worth fighting for. Let's start with the economy. Michigan literally invented the middle class, the revolutionary idea that you could work at an auto plant and afford the car you were building. That's the American dream.
That is true.
And in order to expand and protect the middle class, we have to do a few basic things. We need to bring down the price of things we spend the most money on: groceries, housing, healthcare. We need to make more things in America with good-paying union jobs.
That's true.
And bring our supply chains back home from places like China.
That's true.
We need to give American businesses the certainty they need to invest and create the jobs of the future.
Which is one of the reasons why we have the Trump's tax cuts and why we have tariffs, to make American businesses better be able to compete against the countries that's flooding our markets with cheap products and is throwing us out of business. All of that's true, but the context matters.
We need a tax system that's fair for people who don't happen to make $1 billion.
Oh, here we go.
Look, the president talked a big game on the economy, but it's always important to read the fine print. So, do his plans actually help Americans get ahead? Not even close. President Trump is trying to deliver an unprecedented giveaway to his billionaire friends.
Same talking points, same things, the same things that they lost on in the last election. Same thing Bernie Sanders been talking about. Same thing that AOC talks about. Same thing Jasmine Crockett talks about. They just remixing the message, and it's the same message that they saying to the American people. That's not gonna be. It's not gonna resonate. It does not resonate. I don't know why they keep saying. Who is coming up with these talking points? It doesn't work. I'm gonna let her rock out for a while.
He's on the hunt to find trillions of dollars to pass along to the wealthiest in America, and to do that, he's going to make you pay in every part of your life. Grocery and home prices are going up, not down. Yeah. And he hasn't laid out a credible plan to deal with either of those.
As a matter of fact,
his tariffs on allies like Canada will raise prices on energy, lumber, and cars.
Nope.
And start a trade war that will hurt manufacturing and farmers.
Nope, manufacturing.
Your premiums and prescriptions will cost more because the math on his proposals doesn't work without going after your health care. Meanwhile, for those keeping score, the national debt is going up, not down. And if he's not careful, he could walk us right into a recession. And one more thing.
You mean a recession that Biden had his
plan, he could very well come after your retirement. The Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits you worked your whole life to earn. The president claims he won't, but Elon Musk just called Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
And he is right. And this is one of the reasons why you guys don't resonate with the American people. It is literally a Ponzi scheme. And we have a bunch of people on it that's not supposed to be on it that's still getting benefits. And it's a fraud machine also. I'm paying into Social Security so that you can live today. That's what Social Security is. Now, it's not that we have an endowment or a group of people or some money that's put away that then continues to make money on top of money in order to, make sure that it's solvent. That's not what Social Security is. It's robbing me to make sure that you're taken care of, and then they're going to rob the generation after me in order to make sure that I'm taken care of. That's what Social Security is. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's the literal definition of a Ponzi scheme, but because the federal government is doing it, that's what makes it solvent.
While we're on the subject of Elon Musk, is there anyone in America who is comfortable with him and his gang of 20-year-olds using their own computer servers to poke through your tax returns, your health information, and your bank accounts?
Better than IRS.
No oversight, no protections against cyber attack, no guardrails on what they do with your private data. We need a more efficient government. You want to cut waste? I'll help you do it. But change doesn't need to be chaotic or make us less safe. The mindless firing of people who work to protect our nuclear weapons, keep our planes from crashing, and conduct the research that finds the cure for cancer, only to rehire them 2 days later? No CEO in America could do that without being summarily fired. Okay, so we've talked about economic security. How about national security? Let's start with the border. As someone who spent my whole career protecting our homeland, every country deserves to know who and what is coming across its border. Period. Democrats and Republicans should all be for that. But securing the border without actually fixing our broken immigration system is dealing with the symptom and not the disease. America is a nation of immigrants. We need a functional system keyed to the needs of our economy that allows vetted people to come and work here legally.
which is one of the things that they did not address during the entire Biden administration. And we just let people come over here needlessly. And now we refusing to help the federal government actually get the people that's not supposed to be here legally or illegally out of the country. So this is all posturing. All right. We only presenting this. And again, I'm watching this for the first time. All of these points is easily disputed. A third grader that knows anything about civics can tell you exactly what's going on. All of these talking points is regurgitated, is reformatted. They representing it to you and they acting like it's going to resonate with the American people. We all know that it's cap. We all know that it's not true. We all know that y'all let immigrants across the border. Y'all stood by while the Biden administration profited from it. 300,000 children and counting wound up becoming missing. It became a racket as far as the cartels and human trafficking, and everybody got paid from it. $15,000 to $20,000 per person. They was estimating. It's a racket. It's one of the most crooked things that I've ever seen in my entire life.
So I look forward to the president's plan on that. Because here's the thing. Today's world is deeply interconnected. Migration, cyber threats, AI, environmental destruction, terrorism. One nation cannot face these issues alone. We need friends in all corners, and our safety depends on it. President Trump loves to say peace through strength. That's actually a line he stole from Ronald Reagan. But let me tell you, after the spectacle that just took place in the Oval Office last week, Reagan must be rolling in his grave. We all want an end to the war in Ukraine, but Reagan understood that true strength required America to combine our military and economic might with moral clarity. And that scene in the Oval Office wasn't just a bad episode of reality TV. It summed up Trump's whole approach to the world. He believes in cozying up to dictators like Vladimir Putin and kicking our friends like the Canadians in the teeth. He sees American leadership as merely a series of real estate transactions. As a Cold War kid, I'm thankful it was Reagan and not Trump in office in the 1980s. Trump would have lost us the Cold War. Donald Trump's actions suggest that in his heart, he doesn't believe we're an exceptional nation. He clearly doesn't think we should lead the world. Look, America is not perfect, but I stand with the majority of Americans who believe we are still exceptional, unparalleled. And I would rather have American leadership over Chinese or Russian leadership any day of the week. Because for generations, America has offered something better. Our security and our prosperity, yes, but our democracy, our very system of government, has been the aspiration of the world. And right now, it's at risk.
Remember when Kamala Harris used to say aspiration, aspirations, 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 the aspirations of what can be? We don't care about the aspirations of the world no more. We care about fixing our own country. They are not our allies. They are our dependents. The world has not been our ally. The world has been our dependent. And in the process, we made a bunch of people rich inside of the United States of America that we don't even know who exists. And they've been taking advantage of us for a long time. That's not the American dream that our forefathers put forth and what we stand for as Americans. That's not the history of this country. It shouldn't be the history of our children's future either. It's silly. It's silly to even think about.
It's at risk when the president decides you can pick and choose what rules you want to follow, when he ignores court orders and the Constitution itself, or when elected leaders stand by and just let it happen. But it's also at risk when the president pits Americans against each other, when he demonizes those who are different and tells certain people they shouldn't be included.
Translation: men going into women's sports, men in women's bathrooms, and you can identify as whatever you want to identify as. And we don't know what a woman is. A woman is whatever it is that you think that a woman is, depending on how you feel that day. I want to be very clear because, listen, this is why we break it down from a C student's perspective. Don't just take it at its on the surface, address it for what it is. Because you're different. No. Nope. We don't want men in women's sports. There's only two genders. And we can't have men using women's bathrooms. It's as simple as that.
Because America is not just a patch of land between two oceans. We are more than that. Generations have fought and died to secure the fundamental rights that define us. Those rights and the fight for them make us who we are. We're a nation of strivers, risk takers, innovators, and we are never satisfied. That is America's superpower. And look, I've lived and worked in many countries. I've seen democracies flicker out. I've seen what life is like when a government is rigged. You can't open a business without paying off a corrupt official. You can't criticize the guys in charge without getting a knock at the door in the middle of the night. So as much as we need to make our government more responsive to our lives today, don't for one moment fool yourself that democracy isn't precious and worth saving. But how do we actually do that? I know a lot of you have been asking that question. First, don't tune out. It's easy to be exhausted, but America needs you now more than ever. If previous generations had not fought for this democracy, where would we be today?
Better off.
Second, hold your elected officials, including me, accountable. Watch how they're voting. Go to town halls and demand they take action. That's as American as apple pie. Third, organize. Pick just one issue you're passionate about and engage. And doom scrolling doesn't count. Join a group that cares about your issue and act. And if you can't find one, start one. Some of the most important movements in our history have come from the bottle up.
Similar to the movement that was started by John Schwartz to make sure that you black out, that black people attach themselves to and play the game of telephone. I love this. I love this.
In closing, we all know that our country is going through something right now. We're not sure what the next day is going to hold, let alone the next decade. But this isn't the first time we've experienced significant and tumultuous change as a country.
Nice word.
I'm a student of history, and we've gone through periods of political instability before. And ultimately, we've chosen to keep changing this country for the better. But every single time, we've only gotten through those moments because of two things: engaged citizens and principled leaders. Engaged citizens who do a little bit more than they're used to doing to fight for the things that they care about, and principled leaders who are ready to receive the ball and do something about it.
All right, I'm tired of this nonsense. She's advocating for the LGBTQ people. She wants men to be in women's sports and men to go in women's bathrooms. She won't admit that the immigration crisis was caused by the Biden administration. And more importantly, we should not be the person that is funding and using the world to be our dependent so that we can continue to make sure that we make ourselves look good to aspire for the aspirations of the world to come over here. Get the heck out of here, bro.